Welcome to, bro. We still haven't figured out a name for the show, bro.
We don't have a name, Sly, and it's starting to worry me, man. It's starting to worry me because now I'm losing voice, and we still don't have a name, and it's not worth losing my voice if we don't have a name, man. But I will tell you what, the people obviously have been looking at it, so we need to come up with a name some kind of way, man.
We got to come up with a name, and you keep saying the people have been looking. The people have been looking, and they have been approaching. They have been approaching in the street. Like some of them really don't realize how big I am before they approach, but once they see how big I am, the approach slows down. But here's a common thing we've been getting, Jamie. People have been telling me, how come my school, their banner or helmet or whatever in the background? Well, you didn't send it in. So talk to somebody from your sports information department. Talk to your SID, your athletic director. Tell them to mail whatever little paraphernalia. Is that the right word, Jamie? You're educated. That paraphernalia?
Almost, man. Almost paraphernalia, and you are educated too, sir.
Okay, well, you went to A&T.
Nah.
Premier Institute. But yeah, so mail your paraphernalia. I'm gonna get that word beating me up, man. Mail your stuff to us at the HBCU Game Day Studios. Mail your stuff to us at the HBCU Game Day Studios. Mail it to me. Hit me in my inbox so you can get the address so we can put your stuff on the wall. But as you can tell, we're going remote today. We're remote. Could not go from the studio. We had people on the road, so we had to make some adjustments and go remote. But we're going to talk some SIAC football, and it was an exciting week in SIAC football.
Yes, it was, man. It's one of those weeks where what you predict really is not what exactly happened, and the prognostication is one of those things where you thought you knew, but you really didn't. So, hey, it's one of those things, man. It's one of those things. It's one of those weeks.
One of those weeks, man. So I guess we best jump on into it. Let's jump on into it. Let's start off first game of the day. And this one will get the coveted 2 live stews back to life, back to reality. My goodness. Albany State took what Stone Cold Steve used to say, took out a can of whip ass. They open up a can of whip ass on poor Allen University. Allen University had a great game last week against Clark Atlanta, defeating Clark Atlanta at home, but then they went on the road to Albany State, and it was not pretty, man. It wasn't pretty at all.
Man, look, I was on the apology tour last week talking about Allen, putting them in there, and I think they're still worthy of being one of those teams in the upper half of the conference. But Albany State just proved why they were picked preseason number 1, man. They just, from start to finish, absolutely destroyed Allen, and give kudos to Quinn Gray and the rest of that team, man. And if you review the stats, they weren't even eye-popping. They just were consistent throughout the game, man. And kudos to that squad, really, offensively, defensively, and on special teams, man. Listen, they are a complete team. I was actually having this discussion with someone in another conference, crazy enough. And they are a complete team. They are one of the 2 and 3 teams in the SIAC that I feel if they get in the playoffs, they can win some games in it. So definitely give kudos to Albany State. They just have to finish.
Yeah, Albany State, man, what an impressive performance. And like you said, when you pull up the stats, they didn't have just like a very eye-popping stats from anyone. Isaiah Knowles, he only threw for 150 yards, 151 yards. Jaden Kennedy, I guess the backup came in. And I guess when you're beating somebody 57 to 14, a backup can get some playing time. He threw for 136. But Tent White, he got 104 yards rushing. He averaged 9.5 yards a carry. That, my goodness, man.
That's why that score looks the way it does, sir. Like when you have those 9 yards a carry, come on. Ooh.
That ain't even right. And then poor Fabian Duncan. Fabian Duncan had a career game the week before with 224 yards, and he's actually leading. He's leading all HBCUs in rushing, and I think he was 6th in Division II. He was 6th or 5th in Division II, but he came back down to reality. He had a 54-yard game. I mean, a 54-yard game. So yeah, it was a tough one for Allen. Tough one for the Yellow Jackets. Oh well. Well, since we talking about tough ones, let's go to the next one. The next one taken behind the woodshed.
Ooh.
Taken behind the oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I witnessed it, sir. I witnessed it.
You called this game. You were there. You were on Panther Vision TV, Clark Atlanta TV, and you called this one, and it was, ooh, my goodness.
First and foremost, let me give kudos to Panther Vision TV and CAU TV in general, man. Great setup. And listen, they had everything for me. It was great, man. I can't sing enough praises to that outfit, man. Kudos to everybody that was in charge of that, man. It was great. It was great.
Well, it was ugly. It was ugly, Jamie. I'm talking about this one wasn't very pretty. But here, if you want to look for some bright lights, the one big bright light I will say is that doggone Benedict defensive front. That Benedict defensive front, they are so doggone scary. They are mean. That front seven, those and the front four, they big, they nasty, they athletic. Oh my goodness. They had the young freshman quarterback. I'm talking about they was hitting them so hard. I watched the replay of that game, Jamie, and I had to rub myself down in icy hot. That's how hard they was hitting that young freshman.
Sly, Xavier Jackson for Clark Atlanta played a great game. I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I think he threw for 388 yards. Few touchdowns mixed in there as well. He played a great game. However, that front for Benedict, nasty, very nasty. And let me call 2 names. Tometrius Patterson, who I told after the game, he should be locked up for assault. Okay? He should be locked up for assault because that was purely like, stop it. Stop. Please stop. Okay? And Isaiah Nwokocha, who played a whale of a game, scored a touchdown as well on a scoop and score. That front is nasty, man. They're nasty, and when they see ball, hit ball, and they want to score, they are the offensive version of a defense. I mean, they're just nasty, man. And when you have a front like that as much as Clark Atlanta passes the football, and Xavier, don't get me wrong, Xavier Jackson is worthy of your offense being set up in that manner. But what he is different than Zod McDonald is the running threat of being able to take it back door when you have those rushers go upfield. So he was a sitting duck. And it wasn't even a thing of the offensive line being horrible for Clark Atlanta. It wasn't. It was just one of those things where if receivers weren't open right away and you got a freshman that's going through their progression, that clock sped up. And that front of Benedict's was just willing and able to get there, man. It was just one of those things. But give kudos to the back end as well, man. They are opportunistic. That defense is nasty, and they are well deserving of everything they get. And Darius Ocean in that offense, the numbers weren't good for him passing-wise. He was under 50%. I think it was 9 of 20. But they throw the deep ball well, and those receivers go and get it. The ex-quarterback, Trey Simmons, great game. and had a few more that were out there really giving great numbers as far as the receiving corps is concerned. Ran the ball well with Tristan Morgan as well, man. So kudos to Benedict. They are, I would say, maybe the second complete team in the conference. I'm talking about overall offense, defense, and special teams, because they were able to return the ball as well, man. Kickoff returns. Matter of fact, that's how they scored their first touchdown. So, hey, right now, you got to give them their props, man. We'll talk about our rankings later, but Benedict is scary.
They are scary. Benedict is a scary team. You see, we'll pull up some of the stats from the game. Benedict passing. You were right. Darius Ocean, he was 9 for 20 for 213, 2 touchdowns, but most importantly, no interceptions. But you look on the other side, Xavier Jackson, 28 for 47, 388 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But this was the big one right here, 6 sacks. 6 sacks. And my goodness, those 6 sacks looked like they were painful 6 sacks. They were.
He's tough. He's tough because he got hit hard on a couple of occasions. One, he was on the ground for a little while. I thought he was out for sure, but got up, shook it off, and was in the next series, man. So he has a bright future. He definitely has a bright future.
He does, man. And, you know, at the end of the year, me and Jamie, we're going to have some awards that we give out at the end of the year. And one of those awards are we pick a team, we pick a group of guys that we would love to have with us if we had to walk down a dark alley. And I can guarantee you 2 of them going to be on that Benedict defensive line, that defensive front from Benedict. Those some guys you want if you got to walk down a dark alley.
For sure.
Those some tough ones, man. Those some tough ones. Now, let's move on. Let's go all the way up to Rochester, New York. We're going to pick out the game that 15 people cared about. This one right here. Did I step over the line? Are we going to have a Sylvester Williams line step over?
We are.
Meter?
We are.
We might need to get a meter, a counter of when I supposedly step over the line. But, hey, another take behind the woodshed butt cutting. Central State all over Lane. Central State gets off the slide, and they come in and commence the butt whipping on Lane. All the way. And I saw some of the pictures from the crowd up there in Rochester, and you called it, Jamie.
Told you.
It was a good crowd out there in Rochester.
Man, you would just be surprised in pockets of the United States who don't see HBCUs on a regular basis and that have, HBCU alums in the area want to see ball. Just like, we joked about Bougie Bowl 4 up in New York. But when you're talking about Howard and Morehouse alums, they're up there. So they turn out for the game. Rochester, New York saw this classic, and it was a really good crowd. So kudos to them.
Yeah, it was a good crowd, man. We look at that. We look at this game and looking at some of the standout performers from this game. And here's the thing. It wasn't a big offensive display from either team, especially in the passing game. But Devontae Young from Central State, he had 9 attempts and 112 yards rushing with 1 TD. So big game out of Devontae Young. He was one of the bright stars, one of the bright stars for this Central State team. Central State did some impressive things on offense, man, to put up 40 points. And then on defense, they had an interception, a big-time interception, taking it back for 59 yards, man. Central State, I guess they came to play.
And, I've made the comments, we don't know much about them because I think that team is still trying to figure out some things. But defensively, they have been playing okay. They just hadn't been able to score the ball except against Kentucky State in that Detroit Classic. So it was one of those things that we were just waiting to see, them get against a team that was maybe comparable in talent. And you kind of see what's going on there. And even with that, they kind of showed themselves to be a superior team. Kudos to Coach Tony Carter, first win as head coach of Central State. So, hey, props to him. But again, it's just a matter of them building upon what they're trying to do. And if you met Coach Carter, you got to love his swag. You got to love his player coach attitude. His players already were, and I met him at Media Day. His players were already kind of adapting to his style. So I think it's just a matter of time for them to turn this program around. Kudos and congrats on their first win.
Hey, good job for Central State. Good job for Central State getting your coach's first win as a Central State Marauder. So that's big things to come for Central State. I doubt it, but
See, there you go.
It's good to get.
Couldn't just take the comment, couldn't just deliver the comment and keep it pushing. You just had to. That's all right, no slide.
Well, they play Morehouse. So hey, you might get two. You play Morehouse. Did I step over the line one more time?
That's two. That's number two now.
That's two. Oh God.
That's two.
Oh. I thought I was safe on that one. I thought I was.
You all right. You're all right. It was close, but we're good.
All right. The next game is a game I actually did. I got to go. Wrong graphic. Our producer got to get right, Mr. Producer. Got to get right. Oh no, Mr. Producer brought the. There we go, Mr. Producer.
All right.
The game I actually did, I actually got to go to Tuskegee, up under the shed. We always talk about under the shed. I have never actually been under the shed. I done called games there, but I've never been under the shed.
Man, look, I have not been lucky enough to get on the shed schedule yet, man. So I'm hoping to get down there, man. And even if the week I had off, I couldn't get down there, man. So I'm getting to the shed one day.
Okay, well, judging by this score, Tuskegee had a couple of people on the team who should have been sitting under the shed instead of playing. Fort Valley State Wildcats, they took out Tuskegee 27-20. Fort Valley took them out. Now, this one was kind of tricky for us now. I thought going into this game, I thought Fort Valley had the better team and Fort Valley was going to win. But I said they would only win if Don Hudson Jr. was the quarterback. That's what I said. I said that the backups for Fort Valley couldn't hit the side of a barn. I said that. I saw that first game against West Alabama, and the backups was bad. They was beyond bad. They were the starters at that time. They were beyond bad. But come this game, they gave Jack A. Hart the start. And the first play of the game, they did not waste any time. The first play of the game, he hit T.J. Pendleton for an 84-yard pass, touchdown pass. And here go the thing. They wasn't playing around with it. They went straight at the All-American cornerback, Michael King. He ain't wasting no time. He went after the man, and he beat him for 84 yards for the touchdown. Fort Valley State. My goodness.
Congratulations to that good brother, Marlon Watson, man. Congrats getting your first W, man. Hey, congratulations, because you have been just digging and scratching and clawing and probably should have had two other wins, before now. But congratulations, man. He talked about how he wanted to establish culture, kind of similar, very similar to how Coach Dickerson was last year at Benedict. Got hired late, really wasn't able to establish a recruiting class that he wanted to implement, but he went culture, more culture when it came to just what kinds of things he wanted to establish. And right now, even early on, man, it's one of those things where a coach can come lay his impact on early, and you can see the players buying in. So kudos to them, man. They have really good coaches on that staff. And so you're seeing they're not afraid of anyone, man. And they are more talented than I think any of us knew going in.
Well, that's the thing, man. I knew on defense, they had a strong defense, man. They had a defense that loves to fly around. Like I said, they got two linebackers I like. They got two linebackers who fly around sideline to sideline, and I like to see it. But what I'm noticing about what Coach Watson has, I really think that his coaching staff also, I like what Coach Watson does as a coach. I like the adjustments and everything they make because in that game, Tuskegee started off those first two possessions. They moved the ball down the field, but they just got field goals out of it. I love how their defensive coordinator kind of adapted and saw what was going on and kind of just twisted his defense just a little bit to go and lock down Tuskegee. Now, when you look at Tuskegee and you throw up some numbers, when you can throw up some numbers and some stats for what they did, you look at the game that Raquan Bell played. Now, he played a pretty good game. Young man went 29 for 45, had 380 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. But here's the key. He had 2 interceptions, and they were huge interceptions. They were interceptions that came at a terrible time and at a bad time, and they really, really hurt. And that's what I think hurt Tuskegee so much, man. Those interceptions. And to be quite honest, man, Tuskegee got to figure something out. They got to figure something out because it is looking bad and it is looking tough for the Golden Tigers down there in Alabama.
Man, they are the winningest HBCU program, and anybody that has been a part of, whether you're a fan or whether you're a former player or whatever, does not like losing. And so they're wondering right now with all that talent, what exactly is going on. And I think, in the past, it was continuity issues. They would rotate a lot of players. This year, they're sticking more with, Beal at quarterback and, the likes of Morris and company at running back, even defensively, kind of doing some things and keeping really good players in spots. But they just have not been able to put it completely together, man. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm sure, Coach James and others will get back to the drawing board and get that team ahead. But right now, they're not looking good. It's just after that win against Winston-Salem State, I think they've regressed a little bit. So maybe time to go back to the drawing board.
Yep, back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. Well, we're going to pull up one. This one is Kentucky State versus Savannah State. Kentucky State versus Savannah State. And if you look at this game, Kentucky State won 37-20. 37-20. Kentucky State takes out Savannah State. Now, my goodness, watch out now. Watch out. Kentucky State on the move. Kentucky State trying to do some things. They're 3-2 and 3-1 in the conference, man. Hey, look out for those thoroughbreds.
This is that plan, man. This is that plan that Coach Huggins was trying to put in. Give him some time. And we've said it really throughout the shows, anything we've been on in addressing Kentucky State, just the full-scale change that program has made, especially on offense. But the philosophy of what that offense is going, you got to understand, it involves the players you recruit as well. So when you're talking about a full-scale change of that nature, they recruited different players, highly skilled and fast guys. So now that Coach Huggins is kind of getting his players in, you can see his stamp on the program and what they're able to do. They're a good football team, man. Once they put everything together, I think they're dangerous. And they're one of those squads. We always hint to one. They're going to get somebody. They're going to get somebody, and they're getting people.
And one thing I'm looking at Kentucky State, you pull up the stats, their air raid offensive air raid, they want to throw the ball around, but they only threw for 147 yards total out of both their quarterbacks, Terrence Bardell and Denham Johnson. Denham Johnson was 3 for 4 for 13 yards, and Bardell was 6 for 10 for 134. But Bardell had 3 touchdowns in the air. The young man Bardell, he rushed 6 times for 95 yards and had a touchdown. You think of Denham Johnson as your scrabbling quarterback, but doesn't really matter on this game. It was Bardell who did the running on the ground that hurt them. But now,
Well, man,
go ahead.
No, I mean, that's just another testament to Coach Huggins adjusting based on the talent in the game and what's going on. You know, there's some coaches gonna do what they do, and they that's all they're gonna do. Well, winning football requires adjustments. You can see Coach Huggins making the adjustments.
Mm-hmm. And now you want to look on the other side. A big thing that Kentucky State did that they don't get a lot of credit for is their defense stepped up. Their defense stepped up and forced four interceptions. Fabian Walker, who got the nod at starting quarterback last week for Savannah State and had a pretty good game last week. This week, he goes 11 for 19 for 113, and he throws three interceptions, three giveaways. And then Christian Burks, he goes 13 for 22, 165 yards, and he throws another interception. So, yeah, man, this Kentucky State team, they're stepping up on the defensive side of the ball also. They might be somebody you want to look out for a little bit later on down the line.
Might be. Better prepare.
Okay. Now we want to hop into the next one. We want to go Miles taking on Morgan State. Miles, this one was the Circle City Classic. The Circle City Classic, they went up to Naptown. And Miles had a chance. Those young Golden Bears had it, came down. They wanted to kick a field goal to win. It was blocked, and Morgan State took it back for a touchdown. Oh,
man, I hate this for them. Because it was a chance as a winless squad going into the Circle City Classic, who, you know, one of the old school HBCU classics, you know, of all time. That city typically turns out for it. But I mean, just a heartbreaking loss, man. It's one of those things where, again, even when you're losing, you want to see some remnants of the team still fighting. And with Coach Gould, you can see that team and that squad still fighting. They could have turned around, laid down. You know, this is a Division I squad, you know, FCS squad. You know, they expected to beat us anyway, you know, out of the MEAC. But they fought against them, went toe-to-toe with this squad, and nearly had the victory. But, you know, those kinds of things happen in football. The ball bounces a certain way and you know, lost the ball game. But, again, I'll give props to them still continuing to fight.
Yeah, they continue to fight, man. And that's the thing, man. You hate it for a young squad like this. And I think that's one of the things as a coach that you have to do. You have to figure out a way to keep your young squad together. You got to figure out how to keep their mind and their confidence up because, you know, I'm going to be honest, kids nowadays are a little bit soft. They're a little bit softer. You know, they're not – I don't think kids nowadays are mentally tough as we were, just to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think kids nowadays are more athletic than we ever were. But I think it's in between the ears that gets a lot of the youngsters. And for you to be a coach, you got to figure out a way to keep these young kids in the season. You want to keep them in the season and keep them fighting. And I think that's the challenge that Coach Gould will have. But for them to go up and play a Division I Morgan State team and to have Morgan State all the way down to the final play, I think that's something that they can build on. I think that's something that Miles is going to build on, and they're going to get a lot stronger. Now, I got to look at the rest of their schedule. I don't know who they play, but hopefully they'll play Morehouse, and, you know, they can – wait a minute. Did I crossed the line again?
No, you simply talked about the record. So
okay. Well, my bad. Hopefully they'll play Lane. They may get a victory that way. You know, who knows? But it was a tough one for the Miles Golden Bears. But I do think they're gonna bounce back. I truly think they're gonna get somebody, and it's gonna be toward the end of the year. I think those kids are gonna they're going to grow a lot. They're going to grow a lot. And what some people in Alabama might fear, they might fear that Miles is actually growing and Tuskegee is falling back after not being where they want to be. So maybe that last game of the season might mean a little bit more to Miles than it does to Tuskegee. So who knows?
Stranger things have happened, Sly.
Who
Stranger
knows?
things have happened.
All right. Well, let's get our final.
See, look.
SIAC game.
Look, Sly. Look at this.
Look here. I am not gonna lie to you. This one, I sat and I watched on the way back. On the way back from Tuskegee, I was watching this game in the car as I was driving, and apparently they didn't have any announcers, so it was very dangerous for me to be driving down the road trying to glance at the doggone game because they didn't have any announcers. So we're gonna have to, Dr. Faison, we're gonna have to work on that one. We're gonna have to work on that. It needs some sound at this game. So I don't
Doc,
in the car.
Dr. Faison, holla at us.
Holla at us.
Holla at us. We not too expensive.
We ain't too expensive. Hey, we'll make it happen. If I'm out your price range, I know somebody who might work for you. But the Maroon Tigers had a chance, man. They tied the game up, had a chance. Matter of fact, they were up on Edward Waters. They were up on Edward Waters in the fourth quarter, but Edward Waters dug down deep. They dug down deep. Their final drive, they drove down and scored the go-ahead touchdown. They scored the go-ahead touchdown to get on top of Morehouse, and then Morehouse got the ball. I think, they got it with about less than a minute left. They got it like a minute and 30. They got a minute and 30 left, and they just couldn't get it going. They threw. I know they threw a incomplete pass, and they had a holding on the play, so that took them back 10 yards. Then the quarterback got sacked, took them back another 7 yards, and then it was just a short pass for 19 yards, and that wasn't good enough. And then it was an incomplete pass down the middle, and it was a turnover on downs, and that's the end of the game for Morehouse. That's the end of the game for Morehouse.
It was it was an exciting contest, in a contest we thought wouldn't be. But kudos to Edward Waters. For some reason, Morehouse comes to play when they travel to Jacksonville. I want to say the last two contests that they've been in, when they traveled down to Duval, they played Edward Waters tight. So, again, kudos to Morehouse for continuing to fight, similar to Miles. That you can clearly see the team has not quit despite their record. But Edward Waters is a testament to the talent that they have, the coaching staff that they have. They're never out of a game anyway. They just have to tighten up some things. Heavily penalized squad.
Yes.
I think they need to get that corrected as they enter into these last few weeks, if they have championship hopes and championship aspirations, even playoff-wise. Because I won't say it's too early to start thinking about it, but you do want to tighten up those things because penalties oftentimes keep teams in it. I go back to the Virginia Union game, for example. Some of those penalties kept them from really doing what they wanted to do to close them out, and similar to this game as well. So I think that's something they need to continue working on. But again, they're talented top to bottom. So I think, again, they're still one of the upper echelon teams in the SIAC.
13 penalties for 129 yards. 13 penalties, 129 yards. That's lack of discipline. That is a true lack of discipline by that Edward Waters team. And I'm really surprised that they are that undisciplined, because you look at that Virginia Union game, and I think the ref's still throwing flags from that Virginia Union game. They got to tighten up. And we talk about, and I talked a little bit earlier about mental, about having the mental aspect of football. And a lot of that are just dumb mistakes. They're just dumb and silly penalties, and they got to figure out a way to correct that if they want to actually really, really challenge in this league. Because you definitely can't beat Albany State having that many penalties. You can't beat Benedict having that many penalties. Luckily, I guess they don't have to play either one of them. But you got to do a lot better if you're trying to beat somebody. You got to be a lot more disciplined of a team. You look at some of the stats from this game. Noah Barton, he was 26 for 38 for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, no interceptions. John Terrius Thomas, he broke the 100 yards. He had 14 carries for 115 and 1 touchdown. Now you go back over to Morehouse and Miles Scott, man. I told you I really like this kid, Miles Scott. I do, man. He was not the best game. He was 19 for 40, 267 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he got sacked 5 times, and people got mad at me last week, Jamie. I don't know why, but they got mad when I made that graphic. I'm sorry, my producer. I didn't make the graphic. My producer made that graphic. It wasn't me. About Miles Scott playing his offensive line being 5 guys he met at the library. And when you're giving up that many sacks and that quarterback's getting that much pressure every week, I mean, how else can you describe them? That's the only way you can describe that offensive line, man. I know they're young. But y'all got to do better, man. I think Scott is too good of a quarterback for him to keep getting his neck broke every game. Every time he turn around, somebody in his face, man. Yeah.
I'll say this. Miles Scott you can see the talent that he's always had. Even when he stepped in as a true freshman. And his talent is there. I think it would go a long way to shore up the offensive line, to really maybe taper the game plan to his strengths. If you're running shoot offense, there is I wouldn't say hole, but if you don't have the requisite talent on the offensive line, you don't leave in a tight end or anything of that nature to help, chip outside linebacker or defensive end coming in. So if you're not stout on the offensive line, as much as he drops back into my 40 attempts, that is a recipe for disaster if you're not tight on that forward wall. So I think it would go a long way to definitely work harder to keep him upright. I know they're doing what they can, but maybe even changing the game plan some to make sure he has enough time to see those receivers, because he has the talent to be able to scan the defense and make the right throw.
Well, hopefully they find somebody at the library this week who can help them out a little bit more, man. Hopefully they find somebody who can help them out a little bit more. But y'all need to look a little bit deeper on that library campus. Maybe go over to Spelman. They might be somebody tougher over there. They might be. I stepped over the line.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm trying to.
That's 3. That's number 3.
I'm trying to get better, man. I'm trying to get better. Well, I guess we'll move on to next week's schedule. Oh no! Before we go to next week's schedule, man, let's get some rankings. Let's get some rankings, man. Jamie, what do your rankings look like this week? Let's see what you got.
Go on and put them up there, man. First of all, you don't even see number 13.
They don't even need to be on the page. They don't need to be on the page.
That would be lame. Miles, Morehouse, Central State. Got to drop Tuskegee to 9, man. Right now, they just really have to get their game plan together. I think that coaching staff has to really galvanize what they want to do going forward. Savannah State, again, it's one of those things where they start fast and taper off, or start slow and get better at the end. Right now, I'm not sure what they are. Fort Valley. Listen, those coaches are coaching. That's one of them squads that's going to get somebody. Kentucky State. is right up there and climbing. They very well could have been, and we talked about this pre-show. Them and Clark Atlanta right there neck and neck. I'll give the nod to Clark Atlanta over them right now because I still think they have maybe just a little more oomph than Kentucky State. But I wouldn't. I mean, 5'6", 6'5". Hey, you could have flipped it.
Allen gave up 59.
They did. They did. But I would be curious to see them battle. So I would be interested. Allen, we had them up there. They're right about the same spot. But they beat CAU, for that matter. Benedict, of course, worthy jumping up there. And in fact, depending on what goes on pretty soon, they might be in contention for that second spot. Edward Waters still my number 2, and Albany State still my number 1. I don't think they've fallen off. They were my number 1 at the beginning. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, not too bad. Not too bad, Jamie. Let me pull up the correct SIAC poll right here. In the bottom, I think we both agree with Lane. Lane pulling up the bottom. Central State. Hey, you beat Lane, so you're not on the bottom. Good job. Good job. Miles and Morehouse. That was a tough one because Miles did go head-to-head with a Division I team, but it was probably the worst Division I team. So I don't know how much you want to count that. Morgan State, the only 2 wins are from Division II schools. So I don't know how you want to really look at that. But Morehouse almost pulled one out against Edward Waters, and Edward Waters is supposed to be pretty good. Savannah State, we got Savannah State at 9 because they are what they are. Savannah State, they're either going to start the year off hot and fizzle out, or they're going to fizzle, and end the year hot. I think that's just what Savannah State does. Tuskegee, I got Tuskegee at 8. I had to drop Tuskegee back there because they just didn't look good these past couple of weeks. They hadn't looked good these past couple of weeks, but good thing is they play Morehouse next week. Clark Atlanta, you gave up 59. I can't have you in my top 5. You gave up 59. Say what you like. I like you. I like everybody over there with 59. You gave up 59. Allen, same thing. You came out against Clark Atlanta looking like you were superior. You guys looked like y'all was awesome, and then Albany State just brought you back down to life real quick. They brought you back down to life really, really quick, fast in a hurry. Fort Valley, I always said Fort Valley was the best 0-loss team in the country. I thought they were, and they showed. They went out there, pretty much dominated. If you look at that final score, the final score against Tuskegee doesn't really mean much to me because they missed 3 extra points and a field goal. So that could have been a lot worse than what it was. Kentucky State, all they're doing is they keep on moving up. They just keep on moving up, and they keep on winning. Edward Waters, I had to drop it in 3. Morehouse almost beat you. I really thought about dropping you about to 9 because Morehouse almost beat you. But I didn't want to do that. You did beat Virginia Union. But you let Morehouse play you close. That's bad. Benedict, a lot of people wanted to put Benedict over Albany State. And this is why I will not put Benedict over Albany State. Because even though they did deliver the beat down to Clark, if you really look at how they beat Clark, their offense wasn't very impressive. I know that's going to sound crazy when you see 59 points. But you got to remember, they scored on a kickoff return, they scored on a pick 6, and they scored 2 scooping scores. So that's 28 points that special teams and the defense got. So that offense still has a little bit to be desired. And, they had some real big plays. That's how they had a 75-yard touchdown, I think a 40 or 50-yard touchdown. So they made some big hits. But That's just the only reason you're not number one. And Albany State, whoever been put in front of Albany State, they just been cutting butt. It doesn't matter who they played. Albany State just went out there and they just blowing everybody out. So Albany State has to be number one without a shadow of a doubt. Albany State number one. All right. So now let's look to next week's schedule. Saturday, October 4th. There are no Thursday games. And so now we'll have Central State traveling to Fort Valley, Georgia, taking on Fort Valley State. Central State traveling to Fort Valley. Jamie, what you got for that?
Hey, I'm going to take Fort Valley in that, man. Traveling down to the Valley. If I am not mistaken, it is their homecoming.
Oh.
If I am not mistaken, I think it's their homecoming. They'll be hyped for it. Coming off that first W, I think they continue the momentum. I think they'll get the W.
All right. So Central State, you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance. That's a long bus ride down 75. You're going to take that bus ride down 75 and head on back with an L. I think, was that probably 13-hour bus trip.
Yep.
13-hour bus trip. You're going to head on back with an L. Hopefully you can eat at a nice restaurant somewhere in Central Georgia. Hopefully you get some nice food to head on back. Hopefully somebody have some barbecue or something for you. But you're going to take that and the butt cutting and head on back up there. And then hopefully y'all can talk to people across the street at Wilberforce and start the football team. So maybe you can get a win if Wilberforce starts the football team. Hopefully. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Savannah State. Savannah State is crossing the border, headed on up to Orangeburg to play South Carolina State. That shouldn't be close. It shouldn't be close at all.
It shouldn't be, man. South Carolina State's coming off a loss against Charleston Southern, giving them their first win of the year. So I think they'll be looking to right the ship. Coach Berry's alma mater is coming into town. So they'll be getting a W. They'll may have some mercy on them. But South Carolina State should win this game easily.
Yeah, the fighting Shannon Sharps don't have a chance against South Carolina State. So, there you go. South Carolina State on that one. Now we have the Battle of Taylor Street. The hoedown on Hardin Street. Allen versus Benedict. Both teams on the corner of Taylor and Hardin Street. 2 weeks ago, I said I might have thought it would have been a close game. Now I think Benedict might get tired. I think the band of distinction might get tired of playing the fight song. Benedict gonna score a lot.
I don't know, Sly. I think it's a little bit closer than you think. I think because Jameer Dismukes, I think it won't be his passing ability. I think it'll be his running ability that will keep this a little bit closer. I still think Benedict wins it, but I don't think it's the blowout that people think it is. Not based on what happened to them in the past. And these last few years, the game has been closer, despite one team being, thinking is better than the other coming into the game. Again, I still think Benedict wins, but I think it's a little bit closer than the experts predict.
Benedict by 25.
Oh,
Benedict by 25. That defensive front is going to have a field day. That defensive front is going to go crazy. Now, I don't think Benedict is as strong in the defensive backfield as they are up front. But the problem is they get so much pressure on you up front. They get so much pressure with that front four that I just think Benedict is scary. And all I'm doing is just waiting for the Benedict-Albany State game, to be honest with you. That's the game I'm really waiting for. But I don't think that one's going to be – I don't think this one's going to be close. I think Benedict's going to walk away with this one. All right, the next one, Kentucky State is headed down to Fairfield, Alabama. Fairfield, Alabama to take on Miles. Kentucky State versus Miles. Now, Miles coming off of an impressive game against Morgan State. Now, I'm pretty sure they have some confidence built up, but I just think Kentucky State is a bit too strong for them.
Yeah, I will be on the call for that one from Fairfield, and looking forward to it. Kentucky State is strong, riding the high right now of playing winning football, and so I think they may be too much for Miles. We'll see, because Miles obviously is still playing, but I'm looking forward to the contest, man.
I am looking forward to it, man. I think it'll be a interesting game, but it all depends on how these young freshmen that Miles has. It just all depends on how their head is into it, man. Is their head still into it? And we're gonna find out quick, fast, in a hurry. We're gonna find out quick, fast, in a hurry. Are they just too deflated from that close game against Morgan State, or are they gonna use that game against Morgan State as a building block? So we're going to find out quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right, the next one. The next one is Albany State versus Lane. Brother, this could get ugly. If you think what they did to Allen was bad, we might be trying to. Do they have the mercy rule in college ball?
They
have
do
a
not.
running clock.
They do not.
They don't have a running clock in college ball, but what they do have, they have a coach's decision. The coaches can get together at halftime, or they can get together before the start of the game and decide if they want to shorten the quarters. They can decide if they want to shorten the quarters or they want to call the game off a little bit shorter. Hopefully, these two coaches, Coach Connor and Coach Gray, can get together at halftime and say, "Hey, man, let's just play 5-minute quarters, these last two quarters, and so that way we can keep the score 70-0 if we just play 5-minute quarters." Hopefully that's what they say. What?
Albany State wins the game.
Wow, how did you figure that one out, Jamie? It was like you did a lot of research on that one.
No analysis needed. Nah, man. I mean, Lane, just keep chopping, man. Just keep chopping.
It's always next year. It's always next year. Well, at least y'all can go to Beale Street and party, afterwards or whatever. You're in Jackson. That's not too far from Memphis. So you can go to Beale Street and enjoy it at Beale Street.
I wonder, is this one in Memphis, though? I actually went to that game. I know they always play one in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wonder, is this that game?
That's a good question. The schedule says Jackson, but we don't know. It could be in Memphis. Who knows? Who knows? It really don't matter. It really don't matter. To be honest, they could just play this on PlayStation to save everybody some time. I wish you could just hit the sim button and just simulate the game.
I noticed, we on a screen where the background is always interfering, but if you can see, just stepping just a little bit.
I was stepping over the line.
Just
my bad.
That's all right.
I didn't know. Well, the final game is the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic at the Crampton Bowl, and I will be calling that game. The Tuskegee Morehouse Classic at the Crampton Bowl. You know what? I'm going to go out on a ledge.
Oh, man.
I'm going to go out on a ledge. And people think I give Morehouse a hard time. For some reason, and I don't know why. They think I give Morehouse a hard time. But today, I'm going to go out on a ledge. In the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic, Morehouse will score. More than Tuskegee. I said it. I said it. For the first time ever, I think I may be picking Morehouse. That is growth.
Woo!
That is growth. I think Morehouse is going to figure it out. I think they are going to figure it out. I really like Morehouse's defense. I do. Morehouse defense has not put them out of game. Morehouse defense has not lost them a game yet.
On a serious note, I was going to defer to you to actually analyze Morehouse's defense against Tuskegee's offense, because looking at Tuskegee in a few games, offensively, they start off hot, and then all of a sudden they can move the ball 20-20, but can't get into the end zone. So I was wondering with Morehouse, especially with the way they played Edward Waters, would they be capable of doing that?
I think if they can carry it over, if they can carry over the success and some of the things they build off of some of the things they did, like even the rushing attack last week, they had a running back getting 95 yards. He almost got 100 yards last week. Who was that? Nicholas Woodford. Nicholas Woodford had 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. If they can build off of what they did last week against Edward Waters, and Edward Waters is a better team than Tuskegee, and they played Edward Waters at home too. They played them in Jacksonville, and they played them tight. So I think if they can build off of that, I think this might be the annual one win for Morehouse. They win one every 3 years, I think. They'll win one. I think this one might be it. One might be
it. Well, I won't agree with you there. I still think Tuskegee wins the game, but it won't surprise me. Just based on if this defense can keep them at bay, I think you might be right.
I don't know, man. Who knows? Today might be a good day for Morehouse. It might be a good day for Morehouse next Saturday. Next Saturday, man. Who knows, man? I really think this is the game they actually have the best shot at winning. Just to be honest with you. Oh no, never mind. They play Central State next week. Oh, they play Central State, then they play Lane. Morehouse could possibly win 3 games this year. That's more than they won all decade combined.
It's true.
Combined.
It is true. Yeah.
Morehouse might be a 3-win team. Who would have thought it?
Who would have?
Who would have thought it? Oh well. Well, Jamie, been another great show.
Absolutely, man. It's always a blast, man. But look, we're still looking for people. Send your stuff in. Title sponsors. Look, we're not too harsh for your brand. We can adjust our styles to the money that you are paying to sponsor this show. Listen, we can be anything you need to be. As long as the money's flowing.
And we also want to give a shout out to Just Josh Sports. As you can tell, we used a lot of his graphics during this production. We used a lot of Josh graphics, man. Young man does a great job of covering the SIAC. If you follow him on Instagram at Just Josh Sports, follow him on Instagram. He does a great job of covering the SIAC and anything you want to know, man. Trying to get the young man on the show. If he
absolutely, man,
it's an idea, we can definitely bring him on the show.
Listen, I'm gonna have to pay that. I'm gonna have to pay that young man to do my next reel for next year, man. Because look, when he slices and dices and put that stuff together, it's great, man.
Top notch.
It's great.
Top notch, man. If you're looking for someone to edit your film or to edit your highlights and stuff like that, you might want to talk to him. You can follow him on Just Ja Sports on Instagram. Just Ja Sports on Instagram. He does it. He does a little bit of it all, man. Great youngster. Really appreciate his talent. All right. Well, that's it. This is we still don't have a name.
We the SIAC show.
We did, but I want a cool name, man. I want a name that jump out to you.
Me too, man. Because me and Sly not cool. We old. So some of y'all cool people out there, give us something. Give us something.
He needs something, man.
If you know the conference, you know the action, you know something that encompasses both me and Sly and the SIAC in general. If you got something, DM us, Sport Voice JW, and of course Sly the Sports Guy.
I don't know, man. We gotta. I want to get something. We need something special, something fancy.
Man, what you over there plotting?
I'm over here plotting, man. I'm trying to figure it out. You know what? We need something cool like the Randy Watson happy hour. I don't know. Something. We need a name for the show.
You just revealed how old we are, because half these cats don't know who Randy Watson is.
They don't know
Some
who
of them
Randy
do.
Watson
Some of them do. Some of them do. And if you do, clearly, you old too.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, and we'll figure out if some of these predictions come true. He's Jamie Watson.
Jamie Watson.
I'm thinking of Randy Watson. He's Jamie Walker. I'm Sly Williams. We'll see you next week on HBCU Game Day.